this is you and you hate the gym. Whenever you go in, you have zero clue what you're doing. You're walking around anxious, awkward, and every single time you end up just going in the corner, walking on the treadmill, or leaving 10 minutes later. But don't you worry, because by the end of the video, we are going to put that to an absolute stop. I'm not just going to give you a random workout split and let you get on with it. I'm going to help you figure out exactly why you're not going to the gym currently, what exactly is going to work for you, your life, your routine, your commitments, build you your own personalized gym structure that's going to work on repeat every single week. And also on top of that, show you exactly how to do the main movements in the gyms. When you do go in, you're not going to feel like an awkward, anxious wreck and actually know how to do it. And if you're at the start of this video right now and thinking, I don't really need to go to the gym, let me tell you that you absolutely do. Unless you want to look like a noodle with no shape, no muscle, then you do need to go to the gym and you need to watch this video so you can break that barrier and make progress. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first things first, before we go any further, we need to figure out why the F you are not currently going to the gym. Because there is absolutely no point in me giving you a full gym workout, a full gym structure, if the reason that you're not going to the gym is because you have no boundaries, you've got no routine, and you're getting no sleep. Me giving you that workout routine is going to do absolutely nothing if the problem is the other stuff. So the first thing that I want you to do is think about the last time that you didn't go to the gym when you were actually meant to. Write down why you didn't actually go. Was it because you didn't have time? Was it because you were too anxious? Was it because you didn't know what the hell you were doing? Was it because you had no confidence? No matter what the reason is, do not worry, because we're going to go through absolutely all of these things and make sure that you have a bulletproof plan so that none of these things are going to be the issue, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. First things first, we need to make time. Your excuse that you don't have time is not an excuse. You're just not prioritizing the time at the moment. And I know that might be hard to hear, but it's true. Everyone has time. You've just got to make time. If you're not currently going to the gym, you're probably prioritizing that time on something else. Maybe scroll on TikTok. Maybe saying yes to meeting Susan on an evening when you don't even like her. Maybe saying yes to plans that you don't even want to do, but you're just doing them anyway to people please. You need to figure out what you're currently spending your time on and what isn't actually giving you the return, and reinvesting that time into the gym, i.e. something that is going to give you a return. So this simple task is going to reveal everything. First of all, we're going to get your week on a bit of paper like that. Maybe do it on Google Calendar. If you're just old school like me, get yourself a whiteboard, get yourself a bit of paper and just write this down. First thing we're going to put in is our solid locked in commitments. This is your job. This is your kids. This is any other commitments that you can't just throw out the window. You can't just throw your kids out the window for this. Like, you need to put that in first. So maybe 9 till 5, let's just say you do work. And you will have loads of other commitments that I maybe don't have, or other commitments that someone else doesn't have. So you, from here, map out all your other commitments. Maybe you've got something here, maybe you've got something here, maybe you've got a block here that you can't do anything in, maybe something here, whatever it is. And once you've finished that task, you'll be left with bouts of time that you have absolutely no commitments in. Now, currently you're filling that time with things that don't matter, because if you can't think of them at the top of your head right now, they clearly don't matter. That's just time is getting away with you for whatever reason and you're not even noticing it. So we need to catch that and realize what we're spending our time on so we can reinvest it into the gym or other things that's going to give us that return on investment for us to reach our goals. So now you've got your time block, you can see what free time you've got. We can now figure out how much time we can realistically dedicate to the gym. And let's be realistic about this. The gym doesn't take 40 minutes. It takes 40 minutes plus travel time, maybe some time getting ready, maybe some time getting the shower after. So the gym realistically might take about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So be realistic about that, because if you're not, that's where you're getting stressed out and that's why you're throwing the towel in, because your 40-minute session is actually taking you 2 hours and you're getting frustrated because you can't get anything else done in a day. So be realistic. Then we're going to set in some time where we know non-negotiably that we are going to go to the gym. So let's start off small to begin with, because we need to create evidence in our brains. Let's start off with 2 to 3 sessions. If you are jam-packed, you're not going to the gym at all at the moment, let's just start off with 2 to 3 sessions. So pick 2 to 3 2-hour blocks in your week where you can do it. So let's pick Wednesday, Monday and Sunday. There's 6 hours in your week that you can now block out. You've booked them into your calendar like an appointment. Like, physically tell yourself that this is an appointment, like you turn up to a Zoom call, and you've got that in your calendar. You've got 6 hours of your week now that you can go, and there should be no excuses around that. And what you're going to do once you've got your plan, you know exactly when you're doing things and what you're doing, you're going to run this for a week. And if there's absolutely anything that stops you from doing this thing once you've planned it out, you're going to write it down, because that thing that's stopping you is going to be the next thing that you want to work on in the next week. Let's say it's something else getting in the way, like another commitment. You maybe haven't remembered that commitment right now. You can then write that down, readjust your calendar to include that, but always make sure that these time blocks are super duper protected, so that you are never ever letting anything else get in the way. And this is not being selfish. This is not you being horrible or you putting yourself first before anyone else and saying no to everything else. This is you just having a boundary and being protective over the time that is going to give you a return on investment for your goals. That's literally it. So we've already knocked down a few hurdles. We know why we're not going to the gym, and we know now how we can go to the gym and make time to go to the gym. Now we need to actually figure out what to do in the gym, because there's about 55,000 different programs you can choose from. Do you do strength training? Do you do cardio? Do you do high rocks? Do you do cross training? Like, what the fuck do you do? Because it's so confused out there. And for you, the person that is wanting to lose a little bit of fat, you want to have a little bit of shape on your arms, on your legs, you maybe want to have a bit of definition on your stomach, this is what you need to focus on. You need to cut out all the crap and listen to exactly this. Now, at the moment, you're probably thinking, I don't really do strength training because when I go on the ski erg, when I do running, I burn like 700 calories, whereas when I do the strength training, I only burn like 100 calories. So I'm not going to do it because it's not good for fat loss. But this is where you're going absolutely wrong. You do not train for fat loss. So if you're trying to go to the gym for fat loss, forget it right now, because fat loss comes from your diet, it comes from your nutrition. Strength training, moving your body, going to the gym is all about building your shape. It impacts how you look and the health of your body. Now, if you just did cardio, you're going to go from how you look now, maybe just up and down, no shape, no definition, to basically just a smaller version of that, because all you're doing is losing fat, and all cardio is doing is burning more calories. Yes, it's helping your heart health, it's helping your physical health, but it's not going to build any shape. You're just going to shrink. So you're going to go from looking like a big noodle to a small noodle. Not what we want. However, if we come over here, see my beautiful drawing of an hourglass figure, this is what happens when you strength train. You don't just shrink in size, you build curves. You build muscle, and that muscle is what gives us that toned, defined body that you want. You don't want to just shrink your shape and still look the same shape but a smaller version. You want to lose fat, but you also want to gain shape in terms of muscle. You want to tone your body, which comes from building muscle. Building muscle does not come from jumping up and down in your living room. It does not come from doing a load of cardio and burning a load of calories. It comes from building muscle mass on your frame. Understood? Because that's really important that you do understand this. Strength training is needed for your goal. Okay, so you're going to have to do it. So we want strength training to build our body, and we want cardio to not only just expend calories, but for our heart health, for our general fitness levels. So that means we need a mixture of both in there. And cardio also does help accelerate our fat loss a little bit more because it burns a lot of calories. When we burn a lot of calories, we increase our calorie deficit, which is great. But we don't just want to be focused on that, because the majority of your fat loss will come from your nutrition, not cardio. The next thing we're going to do is actually build out what your training split is going to be. And what a training split is, what your week of workouts looks like, essentially. And we need to keep this consistent. You can't just be doing a random upper body here and then a class down there and a workout with Brenda over there. Like, you need to stay solid, consistent, doing the same things every week, week in, week out. That's what's going to give us progression. Now, if you're a beginner, let's say you can only work out 2 to 3 times a week, this is going to be your perfect split to get the most out of it. The first thing that we need to consider is we need to train each muscle group at least twice per week if we want to see any solid progression. This obviously starts with 2 train sessions per week of full body. So if you are absolutely full up in your week and you only have 2 hours a week that you can train, you're going to do 2 full body sessions. So that is your first option. The second option, if you can fit 3 times a week in your program, you're going to do lower, upper, and then full body, which means we're still training each body part twice a week, but we're just getting a little bit more volume with separating the lower and upper body out. Then your third option, if you can train 4 times a week, is we're basically just going to do lower, upper, lower, upper. 4 times a week. Again, it means we're still training everything twice a week, but we're just getting way more volume in our reps and sets, which means it's going to give us more progression and make us progress more. They're your options: 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times a week. If you get beyond this and you want to work out 5 times a week, then you could put another full body session or whatever it is. But I'm guessing you're on this video because you do not go to the gym. So please do not go from not going to the gym to doing 5 sessions a week. I would start, if I was you, giving yourself evidence that you can just do 2 times a week. Do 2 times a week for like 2 to 3 weeks, get that under your belt, then switch to 3 times a week. Okay, get that under your belt until you've done that for 2 to 3 weeks consistently, not skipping a beat. Okay, go to 4 times a week. That should give you solid progression. Then on top of that, to get in your cardio, you want to maybe put in 15 minutes after each session. If you're doing 2 times a week, if you're doing 3 times a week, do the same. If you're doing 4 times a week, do the same. If you can add an extra singular session of cardio, great, you can do that on the side. So put 30 minutes here and there, but this can be like optional. This can be like, you can take it in and out. The main things that we want to be doing is our full body strength sessions and keeping that an anchor in the week. And then we can add and bolt things on where we see fit. And then this keeps it totally flexible. Let's say that you work up to doing it 4 times a week and then you think, shit, I've got a really busy week this week. You can then just bring it back. Okay, do 3 times a week. Okay, do 2 times a week. But if you have have to drop any session, always drop the lower upper body session and always get the full body session, because if we can only do one session a week and that's absolutely it, then full body is still going to make sure that we're going to hit every single part of our body, even if it's just for the one time a week. We need to actually know what your workout means. So when you come to a workout, you get a program, it's probably going to look something like this. We've got the exercise name, we've got the reps, we've got the sets, we've got the rest time, and the effort level. Now, it's important that you know what all this means, because yes, being able to do a squat is great, but if you're not actually following the program properly, then you're probably not going to make that much progression. And I want you to get the most out of this, especially if you can't go to the gym that often. Every single time you do go, you want to be getting the most out of it. Essentially, reps is the amount of repetitions we do in one set of movement. If you've got a range of reps like this, let's say 8 to 10, first of all, you want to be selecting a weight that you can do for 8 reps that actually challenges you for 8 reps. As the weeks go on, you want to be working on that same weight for 9 reps and then 10 reps. Once you get to 10 reps on that weight, you're going to up the weight and then go back down to 8 reps. So when you've got a range, you want to be working like that. Then you've got your sets. This is how many sets of that repetition that we do. So for this example, you do 8 to 10 reps 3 times over, and that's your set. Then you've got your rest time. This period is where you do absolutely nothing. Between your rest times, you don't need to be jumping up and down, doing lunges, doing star jumps. No, you do need to be doing absolutely nothing. And you will need a rest if you're putting enough effort into these sets. You will need the rest. So normally it's 60 to 90 seconds. It could be 2 to 3 minutes, depending on what your rep range is. But in this time, you just sit and you do nothing. And you should need that rest time if you're putting enough effort in the actual set. And then lastly, on your program, you will have some sort of effort level that we're working towards. This is important because we could be doing the reps, we could be doing the sets, but if we're not actually going to our limit, then you're not going to be actually making progression. RIR, it might come up as another abbreviation in your program, but this means reps in reserve. Essentially, what this means is that you should be doing the movement until you literally have only 2 reps left in the tank. And I mean 2 reps left in the tank until you're going to fall on the floor, basically. So it just means that you're working at 2 intensity. You're not just doing a few squats and then just being like, okay, that's done. No, you're actually working to your limit, because that's how we're going to progress. And so you know exactly what I mean by this. We're going to go down to the gym and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So now we've got when we're going to go to the gym, we know exactly what split we're going to be doing. I'm not going to give you your exact workout to do because I'll be here for about 10 hours. But what I am going to do is give you the technique and the form of the main solid movements that you need in the gym. Now, if you're a beginner, if you understand these next 5 movement patterns, you're pretty much going to be able to do anything in the gym. So any program that you got, you're going to be able to do it properly. We're going to go through the squat, the hinge, the push, the pull, and the lunge. Once you master the actual movement patterns and how to move your body through these movements, you'll know how to do pretty much any exercise in the gym. So the first one we're going to start off with is the squat. This is something that everyone gets wrong. All clients, when they come to us, as soon as they start their program, a lot of the time they do not know how to do the squat. Sometimes it's looking like this. They're not going low enough. They've got the head up here. They're thrusting forward. They're doing a butt wink. The back is not in the right place. Let's just forget all that and start here. First of all, you're going to start with your feet just outside of shoulder width. Make sure the weight is in the kind of center of your foot. You're not going forward. You're not going back. From here, you're going to keep your neck neutral to the rest of your body. Keep your posture neutral. And all we're going to think about is pushing our knees forward and our hips back as if we're sitting down like this. If you can only get to here, that's absolutely fine. What we don't want to do is overcompensate other parts of our body just to get the depth, i.e. use our back like this or do any other weird movement to try and get that depth. If this is the case, you need to work on your mobility, and each week as you do go to the gym, it will get better. But if you can get low, you want to get to around about this point where your thighs are parallel to the floor. And when you come back up, you're just going to come to here. We're not going to thrust forward. We're not going to do anything with our feet. We're literally just going to stop at the top. So to take you through that all together, we're going to have our feet shoulder width apart, toes slightly pointed outwards, weight in the middle of the foot, push hips back, knees forward until thighs are parallel to the ground, and then push through our heels up to the top. Now, you could do this exact same movement with a bar on your back, with a dumbbell in your hand, and you'll use the same movement pattern for things like the leg press, other variations of squats, and anything where you're basically moving your knees and your hips at the same time to sit down. Next up, we've got the hinge movement. Now, you'll use the hinge in exercise like RDLs, deadlifts, hip thrusts, anything essentially that is hinging at the hips. A lot of people do not know how to do this. They have their pelvis in the wrong position, they use their knees too much, they overextend their back, they thrust forward too much, they move the head all over the place, and it means that nothing is actually going through our glutes. The main part of the hinge is working the posterior side of our body, our glutes, our hamstrings, and most of the movement is going through our hips. So this will cover you for all those exercises, and once you understand how to do the hinge, you'll be covered on everything. So first thing that you want to realize is that the hinge is also to do with our pelvic positioning. If you're starting off with your pelvis out, When you hinge down, everything is going to go through your back, as you can see. So before we even start any hinge, whether you're on a hip thrust, whether you're on an RDL, whether you're on anything, we want to get our pelvis in the right position. Now, a lot of people as a default have their pelvis tilted out like this, a little bit like a duck. And a lot of people walk around like this just because of general bad posture. So whenever they do go and do a hinge, naturally they start like this and then go down. But as you can see, all I can feel right now is a massive strain on the low of my back. Absolutely nothing's going through my glutes because the only tension is made from my back being in this position and my pelvis being in this position. So what we need to do before we start is almost like thrust forward like this. Like imagine you humping something, okay? That's how we're going to get our pelvis forward. So before you start any hinge movement, we need to fix our pelvic tilt. So go from being a duck to thrusting. And what you should realize here is your glutes should be a little bit more tense. The lower of your back should be absolutely straight, no tilting, straight. It's almost as if like you're thrusting something. Once you're here, when you actually hinge back, everything is going through your glutes. There's absolutely nothing going through your back. And if you're feeling a hinge in your back, i.e. the hip thrust or the RDL, it means that your pelvic tilt is off. So fix that first. From here, we always want a soft knee. Again, whether it's hip thrust, whether it's deadlift, whether it's RDL, we always want a soft knee. We don't want to be bending through the movement. We just want it to be soft. Then from here, you're going to basically drive your hips to the back of the room and you should feel everything going through the glutes here. Get to a point where that's fully extended and stretched, and then we're going to pull all the way through and keep the tension in our glutes as we're doing that. Again, when we're pulling all the way through, we're not losing that tilt in our pelvis. We're keeping it all structured, postures in the right place, and we're moving everything through the hinge of our glutes. Just imagine like a door hinge. When you open a door, it goes like this and then it goes like that. Our glutes are the hinge in this movement, and that's all we need to be thinking about. So just to take you from the top, first of all, stop being a duck. Tilt your pelvis in. Once your pelvis is in, you're going to engage your core, have a really, really soft bend in the knee, and then push back with our glutes like a door hinge. All the way down until we're fully stretched out with the glutes. Once we get here, we're not going to go floppy. We're going to stay really strong in posture and then just close the door hinge up. That's literally it. When we're doing this, don't do anything with your head. Remember, we're hinging at the glutes. We're not hinging at the neck. So don't be doing this as you're doing it. Just keep your head neutral and let it move with the rest of your body, okay? We don't need to be doing this. We don't need to be doing this. We'll just let it move with the rest of our body. Next, we've got the lunge. Now, the lunge comes in so many different variations. We've got the split squat, we've got walk and lunge, we've got reverse lunge, we've got forward lunge. So you just understanding the basic concepts of the lunge is going to cover you for all of these exercises. Now, when you're doing a lunge, you want to think like you're on a train track. Your 2 feet are on different lanes of the train track. We're not on a tightrope. A lot of people do the lunge and they're like this, trying to stay on a tightrope. That is just, as you can see, that's just not how we do it. What we need to do is think about that we're on a train track. Each foot has its own pathway and it stays on its own pathway. So we go forward like this foot is on this pathway, and this foot goes on this pathway. So that's your foot positioning. Now the second thing is actually how far we go and what we do with the rest of our body. Now with the lunge, let's just take the reverse lunge for example. When we go back, we're basically working one side of the body at a time. One leg is actually doing the work, one leg is supporting the other leg doing the work. So for example, on the reverse lunge, the leg that's actually doing the work is the leg that's forward. The back leg is just supporting the leg forward. When you look at the rest of your body, you want to keep it neutral. Like with the squat, like with the hinge, we want to keep the rest of our body neutral. We don't want our neck doing this. We don't want our back rounding. We don't want any of the sort happening. So to take it from the top, you're going to stand neutral. Feet are on separate train tracks. Head is in a neutral position. We're going to step back. The leg that's working is going to be this front leg, and we're just going to lunge down. Then lunge back up, come forward, and then that's it. Next one is our push movement. Now this is going to cover things like shoulder press, chest press, anything that you do where you're pushing a weight in front of you. Obviously there's going to be more nuances with each exercise that you do, but pretty much the theory behind pushing is going to stay the exact same. So let's just take the shoulder press for example. With the shoulder press, you want to be getting a really strong stance. So we're not just going to start off on the bench like this with a bad posture and just doing this because we're all floppy. We've got no strength to us. We're just flopping it around. First of all, it starts our posture. So get on the bench. You want to kind of arch your back so your bum is in the bench and your upper back is in the bench. This will be the exact same for a chest press and anything where you've got your back onto the bench. From here, we're going to push in front of us. We're not pushing at the side of us. We're not pushing behind us. We're going to push in front of us, even on a shoulder press. So you want to make sure that your elbows are slightly in front of you. We don't want them flared like this because that's just not how our body works. That's not comfortable. You're going to put it slightly in front of you, slightly at an angle. Make sure that your body is really strong with a good posture. and then you're going to push up through the palms of your hand until you get to the upper movement. When you come down, you're going to be thinking about having that tension either in your shoulders, either in your chest, get down to the starting position, and then push up through the muscle group that you actually want to work and through your palms. Again, make sure that your head is staying really neutral. You're not putting it forward, you're not putting it down. The rest of your body stays really strong. You're not losing your posture like this. And with that, you'll be able to feel it either in your shoulders, in your chest, and have a solid base for the movement. The next movement is the pull. So the pull works anything on the back of our body, i.e. our back. This is things like your lat pull down, any type of row variation, your pull up, and all of these movements use one technique, and knowing how to actually engage your back in a movement and pull is going to cover you for all of these exercises. So the main thing that I want you to think about before you even do the movement, we need to understand this. We're going to use a row for an example, but when you're doing any back movement, first of all, you're going to be like a little bit of a noodle and you're going to be all relaxed. From here, we need to go from noodle and relaxed to actually in a good posture. So before we even start, we need to actually engage our back. And the way that we do this is by rolling our shoulder back and in. Do you see how I did that? So we're starting off relaxed and noodle, and we're rolling our shoulder back and in. This keeps our back tight. What this means is that our shoulder isn't going to take the movement. And this is a big mistake that a lot of people make. They just start off like this and then they just pull up like this. And what's happening is everywhere but their back is taking the movement. When you're doing exercise, it's important that you're actually using the target muscle group and not just using your body to move the movement. So what this does is it takes the shoulder out of the movement to ensure that we're only going to be using our back. From here, we want to be driving the entire movement with our elbow. How I like to look at it is like I'm a captain hook. My hand is literally just a metal hook holding the weight. I can't move with my hand, it's just holding the weight. Everything is moving from my elbow. So what you're going to do is drive your elbow to the bottom of the movement, pause, and then retract back again. Now, when you're retracting the movement back again, you're not going to relax your shoulder like this. Your shoulder always stays in place, rolled back, not taking the movement. So let me just take you from the top with that one. You start off noodle, you retract your shoulder back, take the shoulder out of the movement, you drive back with your elbow until you get to the top of the movement, squeeze, and then you come back down whilst keeping your shoulder in the same place. So we've done all the groundwork. You know why you're not going to the gym. You know when you're going to the gym now. You know what training split you're going to do. You know how to actually read a program. Now we're going into the depths of it, of how to actually progress week on week on week. You've got your program. You're in on week one. You're selecting your weights. With this first week, you just need to select a weight that feels somewhat heavy. You're going to do your reps on that weight and you're going to think, okay, how did that feel? Could I push for more? If you can, then you're going to put that weight down, you're going to get the heavier weight and you're going to do more until you get to a point where you literally cannot do any more. Now, once you get to this point, you're going to track that weight and that's going to be your baseline for that exercise. You'll track it in your program something like this, 20 kilograms for 8 reps, 3 sets. The week after that, you're going to look back on last week's program and you're going to check what you've done. You're going to take that same weight and you're going to increase the reps at the higher point of your rep range. But make sure with this that you're challenging yourself and that it actually feels intense. If you get to this point and you think, yep, 12 reps feels absolutely easy, don't be afraid to put the weight up. But let's say it's fine and you're working on 12 reps. Great, Bob's your uncle, fancy. And the next week after that, we're not just going to stick on 12 reps and do 15 the next week. We're going to bring it back down to the start of the rep range, but increase our weight. So now working towards 25 kilos on 8 reps. So we've gone back down to the lower part of the rep range, but we've increased our weight. And as you can see, we've now gone from 20 kg on 8 reps to on week 3, 25 kg on 8 reps, which means progression. We're putting more load on our muscles. Our muscles are going to be under more tension. It's going to break down more so that it can actually build up more. That's how building muscle works. But we need to put our muscles under enough tension and progression, which is going to allow it to break down and then build up. And this is what progressive overload is. There are so many ways that we can actually progressive overload in our training, and this is only through the weight and the reps. But there are a couple of the ways which I'm going to show you with the weights downstairs. So to actually progress in the gym, we need to be putting more tension on our muscles over time. That comes in the form of lifting heavier, doing more reps, having more time under tension, i.e. slowing down the movement, and having more intensity in our workouts. Now, I can write on the whiteboard all of these things, but if you don't actually know what this looks like, you're never going to know how to take it in the gym with you. So I want to show you what intensity looks like and how to actually select the right weight so that you're going to be progressing on it properly and you're going to be actually taking yourself to the limit. Because a lot of people that I talk to and a lot of clients that I've coached in the past have not taken themselves to the actual limit. Maybe they've taken themselves to a point where they feel comfortable, but they've actually got way more left in the tank they can push. Let's say, for example, it's your first day in the gym and you just go and pick up some 5 kilos. Your program says 8 to 10 reps. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick up the 5 kilos and you're going to test it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As you can see, not red. I'm not even struggling. That weight is far too easy. If you get to the end of the reps like that, you need to lift heavier. So what we're going to do, we're going to put down the 5 kilos and we're going to pick up the 7.5s. We're going to test it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As you can see, still not tired. I could probably go for another 8 more. The weight isn't heavy enough. So what we're going to do, we're going to put that down and we're going to get the 10s. And we're going to do the exact same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that one felt a little bit harder. Do you know what? I could still go for another 4 or 5 reps maybe. So again, it's hard, but I can still lift heavier. So what we're going to do, we're going to put these down and we're going to get the 12.5s. And we're going to test it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last one. 8. Okay, I did do 4 sets before this. But as you can see, that was hard. That is how it is meant to feel. You need to be on your last rep like that, borderline not being able to do it, needing someone to spot you, for example, and feeling tired like I am right now. Like, I need a rest right now. Whereas on the 5s, I was just like, yeah, happy days. It's not actually hard enough. So until you're at this point, that's the way that you need to do it. And as you can see, this means I need a rest. I need a good 60 to 90 seconds to just let my body rest until the next round. But if you're first coming to the gym, it's your first session in, you don't know what weight to choose, get to a point where your 8 reps feels like that. And trust me, you will need a rest. And like I was saying before on the whiteboard, this is going to be your baseline. Use this as your base for the next 12 weeks. And what you're going to do is try and get a heavier weight maybe next week or the week after, or try and get more reps the week after. Do this over time. In 12 weeks, you might have added another 5 kilos and another 5 reps to each movement, and that is what progression is called. And the last way you're going to actually increase your progression, if you've maxed out your weights, you've maxed out your reps, but you still want to be able to progress, it's called tempo. Now, what tempo is, it describes the amount of time that we spend at each part of the movement. On your program, you'll see this is a 4-digit number. For example, 4010, and each number represents each part of the movement, because we've got 4 parts of the movement. We've got the eccentric phase, which is the lowering part, and the concentric phase, which is the pushing or the loading part, basically. So let's just take the shoulder press, for example. Your shoulder press could look like this, which is going to be giving us absolutely no time and attention. We're just rushing the weight. We're looking like a little bit of a goon in the gym, and you know, we're going to be getting anywhere with it. What we're going to do is we're going to use the tempo. So when we're up, the lowering phase, which is the first number, could be 3, for example. So we're going to lower at the speed of 3. So 1, 2, 3. Pause at the bottom. So the second number is the pause. The third number is the concentric phase, which is the pushing part of the movement, 1, which is normally quite explosive. And the fourth number is the pause at the top. So if we just take that through once more, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1. And then the next rep is 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1. Do you see how that's different? So certain part of your program might have 4 on the way down. So if you have got 4, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's harder to go down at a slower rate, so it's going to give our muscles more tension, i.e. more intensity, which is then going to result in more progression. Now, if you are at the end of the video now, you're probably looking like Janet number 2, the one that's got the glutes, she's got the abs, she's got the biceps, and she freaking loves the gym. Now, if you've got to this part of the video, you've understood everything that we've gone through, you've got yourself a blueprint, a game plan, you know exactly why you weren't going to the gym, and you feel confident now going to the gym, let me know below, and let me know what your number 1 non-negotiable goal is going to be this week to get yourself there. But apart from that, I really hope this video has helped you. The intention of the video wasn't to give you a fully loaded weekly workout split. It was to help you understand the basics of the gym. You can go into any gym, you can follow any program, you can do anything that you want and still succeed. So just as a little bit of a commitment to lock this in, for me to know that you haven't just watched this video and not going to do anything with it, I want you to drop a comment below, stick your favorite emoji, maybe the bicep curl emoji, and with it, give me your biggest takeaway from this video that's going to help you actually go into the gym next week and start and make progress. Give me the biggest aha moment that you've had in this video so that I know what you took the most from it. But hopefully in a few weeks' time, you'll be looking at this, feeling this way, and not having the gym as your biggest worry. So yeah, go and enjoy, guys. Let's take this mindset into 2026 with us, and I'll see you all in the next video.